Chapter 37, Ancestral Hall. Within the depths of the back mountains of Qingyun Peak, there are two significant places. One is the most important sacred ground of Qingyun Sect, the Fantasy Moon Cave residence, where the astonishingly talented ancestor, Qinji Patriarch, secluded himself to comprehend the Tao 1,000 years ago. Since then, Qingyun Sect has stood unrivaled and led the heroes of the world. Following Qinji Patriarch, the Fantasy Moon Cave residence became the most sacred place of Qingyun Sect, where only the sect leader could enter for 1,000 years. The other place is the Ancestral Hall. As the name suggests, it is naturally where the ancestors of Qingyun Sect are enshrined, from the founder Qingyun to Qinji Patriarch and the predecessors of various generations. All have their spiritual tablets here, with incense burning daily. Moreover, on important days, under the leadership of the sect leader, Qingyun Sect would come here to solemnly worship the ancestors, which was also an important place within Qingyun Sect. However, except on the days of worship, this place is extremely desolate. When Lin Jingyu led the 4 disciples of the demonic sect here, he only saw a vast empty space with a majestic hall standing tall. The corners had flying eaves, glazed tile roofs, ancient red pillars, and door plates, all seemingly telling the history of the past. In this quiet place, a faint smoke drifted out from the deep and somewhat gloomy hall, and from the outside, only scattered candlelight could be seen, with faintly swaying perpetual lamps hanging in midair. However, apart from an old man in plain clothes quietly sweeping the front yard, not a single figure could be seen. At this moment, hearing hurried footsteps, the old man slowly raised his head and looked in this direction. Lin Jingyu felt a wave of regret. At that time, he only wanted to lead these disciples of the demonic sect away from the Fantasy Moon Cave residence, but unexpectedly, he ended up in the Ancestral Hall. This place enshrined the spiritual tablets of the ancestors of Qingyun Sect. If it was destroyed by the disciples of the demonic sect, he would truly be unforgivable. With this thought in mind, Lin Jingyu immediately stopped his steps, held the dragon-slaying sword horizontally in front of him, and turned to face the pursuing fake Shangguan Si and the others. Suddenly, there was a commotion of birds flying up from the distant woods, causing a stir. Lin Jingyu's heart trembled as he looked in the direction where Zhang Xiaofan was. He couldn't help but worrying. However, knowing that he was facing a formidable enemy in front of him, he forcibly calmed his mind, concentrated on alertness, secretly made up his mind. Even if he died here today, he would never allow these disciples of the demonic sect to step into the Ancestral Hall. The dragon-slaying sword seemed to be imbued with spirituality, emitting a brilliant green light, accentuating the determined expression on its owner's face. The old man in front of the Ancestral Hall saw the dragon-slaying sword in Lin Jingyu's hand, and his body trembled suddenly. The 4 members of the demonic sect exchanged glances, and all smiled. These people obviously held high positions in the demonic sect. At a glance, they could see that this place must be an important location of Qingyun Sect, and it seemed that they would gain a lot from this trip. The fake Shangguan Si smirked and said, "Kid, your talent is not bad. Now that Qingyun Sect is at a dead end, why not join us? I guarantee you a bright future." Pa. Lin Jingyu felt disgusted. He sneered, but ignored him. Surprisingly, the fake Shangguan Si didn't get angry. He smirked and said, "All right, since you're seeking death, I'll grant your wish." With that, he signaled the other 3 black-clothed individuals to attack. Lin Jingyu gritted his teeth, wielded the dragon-slaying sword, and fought bitterly. The green light of the dragon-slaying sword flickered, guarding his position. Surprisingly, he didn't retreat, but gradually found himself at a disadvantage. Lin Jingyu joined Qingyun Sect as a youth, with exceptional talent. Master Kang Song highly valued him, not only teaching him diligently, but also passing down the powerful dragon-slaying sword to him. Perhaps in this young man, he saw the shadow of the person he once admired, and Lin Jingyu indeed didn't disappoint Master Kang Song's painstaking efforts. In just a few years, relying on his excellent talent and the belief buried deep in his heart to avenge his parents, his cultivation progressed rapidly, making him the outstanding disciple among the younger generation. However, no matter how diligently he practiced, cultivation was ultimately limited by time and couldn't progress too aggressively at this moment. Facing 3 disciples of the demonic sect, one wielded a long halberd with imposing momentum, another a yellow flying sword, and the most peculiar and terrifying one was a white bone sword made from several human bones, exuding a chilling aura. Lin Jingyu fought desperately against the 3, his teeth clenched, the dragon-slaying sword's green light dazzling. Although he defended with all his might, the 3 black-clothed individuals gradually pressed him down. Seeing his defeat becoming evident, he finally took a step back. The fake Shangwan Si behind him sneered. This retreat couldn't be stopped, and the 3 black-clothed individuals were emboldened, their magic weapons coming out together. Lin Jingyu sweated profusely, retreating continuously, unable to stabilize himself. Suddenly, the mysterious white bone sword disappeared. As Lin Jingyu was about to block the long halberd descending on him and fend off the flying sword's sneak attack, his feet suddenly hurt, and he couldn't stand. It turned out that the white bone sword had burrowed into the ground without anyone noticing and came stealthily, slashing a large wound on his right leg, blood pouring out. Lin Jingyu roared, swinging the dragon-slaying sword in midair. The divine weapon clashed with the white bone sword, making a crisp sound. The owner of the white bone sword was thrown out, and fine cracks appeared on the sword. The person using the white bone sword felt a pang of heartache, quickly retracting it to inspect. But at this moment, the other 2 magic weapons arrived, the wind chilling. Lin Jingyu found himself in a life-threatening situation. Using his last bit of strength, he wielded the dragon-slaying sword above his head. With a loud bang, as strange lights flickered, sparks flew everywhere. It was unknown where the power erupted from, but the dragon-slaying sword managed to block the 2 magic weapons. However, Lin Jingyu's vision also darkened. In the blink of an eye, he lost his focus, suddenly seeing the fake Shangwan Si, who had been standing far away just now, appearing in front of him with a fierce grin. Lin Jingyu was shocked, but before he could react, there was a piercing pain in his chest, as if a sharp force had penetrated all his protective spells in an instant. Lin Jingyu roared. His whole body flew out, blood spewing from his mouth. He couldn't even hold onto the dragon-slaying sword, which tumbled in midair and finally plunged into the ground with a thud, right in front of the elderly man sweeping the floor. The cyan light faded gradually. Lin Jingyu was inherently tenacious. He lowered his head to look at his chest, only to see a mass of flesh and blood, but the actual wound was just the size of a fingertip. However, at this moment, a sharp force surged into his body like unstoppable needles, causing excruciating pain in his meridians. Despite his desire to rise and face the enemy again, his legs softened, and he couldn't stand up. He gasped heavily while the false Shangwan Si and others on the side laughed heartily, thoroughly enjoying themselves.